number one draft pick is a prized asset that can often be seen as the starting point for turning a club's fortunes around. Here are the top 10 number one draft picks since 2000. Number 10, Matt Rao. The 2019 number one draft pick has caught the hearts of fans across the country after his incredible start to his AFL career in 2020. He averaged 21 disposals in his first 4 full games at the level and kicked 6 goals. His love for the game was infectious, but a serious shoulder injury ended his debut season prematurely. A knee injury shortly after his return set Rao back yet again in 2021. But after a full 22 games in 2022, it had allowed us to again see just what the student of the game has in store for years to come. Number 9, Lachie Whitfield. One of the game's best runners. Lachie Whitfield has been a sensational number one selection for GWS. Taken in the 2012 draft following the Giants' first season, Whitfield has played 185 games and recently recommitted his future to GWS. Whitfield has averaged 23 disposals per game across his career and played his best footy between 2017 and 2019, which by no coincidence was when the Giants were at their best. Number 8, Jacob Weitering. One of the key pillars of the Carlton rebuild, Jacob Weitering has become one of the game's best defenders. The 2015 draft was ground zero of sort for the Blues, and Weitering was their first selection ahead of Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow. A difficult start to his career following a move forward in 2017 saw Weitering drop to the VFL level, but his return and subsequent rise of performance have seen the former Dandenong Stingray become a stalwart at Princes Park. A potential future captain, the Blues would be thrilled with their number 23. Number 7, Adam Cooney. The only number one draft pick to have ever won a Brownlow medal, Adam Cooney could be considered unlucky to be so low on this list. A cold figure from the moment he entered the league, Cooney at his best was powerful and as damaging as any player in the AFL. Perhaps unpopularly defeating Matthew Richardson for his Brownlow medal in 2008, Cooney's career would never reach such heights again, after a degenerative knee issue saw his physical weapons taken away from him. Cooney retired in 2016 after 2 seasons at Essendon, having played 250 games. Number 6, Brett Deledio. The man known as Lids is forever a Tiger favourite after his tenure at Punt Road, which saw the classy mover play 243 games in the yellow and black before his move to GWS. But we'll touch on that in a bit. Deledio was drafted in 2004 and was immediately one of the Tigers' star players. Such was the plight of Richmond at the time. Deledio won the 2005 Rising Star Award and was voted the best first-year player by the AFLPA. A 2-time All-Australian, Deledio finished his career at GWS with 275 games to his name after leaving Punt Road in the pursuit of a premiership. Ultimately, the move would backfire, with calf injuries making his time at the Giants rather stop-start, while the Tigers went on to break their premiership drought. Number 5, Mark Murphy. The 2005 number one pick was the first of many over the past 15 years at Carlton. The third generation of Murphy to play at the elite level, Mark would retire at the end of the 2021 season on exactly 300 games. Captaining the Blues through their darkest days, Murphy's individual performances rarely died off, with the former skipper averaging 25 disposals per game as captain. Murphy was one of the game's best players at the peak of his powers and was awarded the AFL Coaches Association Player of the Year in 2011, where he averaged 29 disposals per game and kicked 22 goals. He was also named an All-Australian that year. He also won 2 Best and Fairest at the Blues. Number 4, Brendan Goddard. Goddard was part of what is most likely the best ever St Kilda team we have seen, and he did everything he could to try and win the Saints their second ever premiership, including taking that iconic mark in the 2010 Grand Final. Goddard became an incredibly versatile asset for St Kilda and for Ross Lyon during that era of dominance for the Saints. His ability to play back, forward and on the ball made him an incredibly difficult matchup for his opponents. Goddard played 334 games, with 129 of them coming at Essendon between 2013 and 2018. He has recently returned to St Kilda in a coaching role. Number 3, Sam Walsh. The man known as Warper has set a new standard for number one draft picks. Walsh hit the ground running in a Blues side that had won just 2 games the year prior to his arrival. He averaged 25 disposals per game in his first year and broke the record for the most disposals from a first-year player. He averaged just under 30 per game in 2021 before cracking the 30 disposals per game barrier in 2022. Walsh has become a true match winner for Carlton, as shown in 2021 with standout performances against Fremantle and Collingwood, the latter in the absence of Patrick Cripps. Walsh came third in the Brownlow medal in 2021, the same year he earned his maiden All-Australian blazer. Number 2, Nick Riewoldt. St Nick arrived at St Kilda as part of the Great White Hope. He went on to play 336 games and kick 718 goals, which could have been far more had it not been for a case of the yips throughout different stages of his career. A 6-time St Kilda best and fairest, the 2004 AFL MVP winner and a 5-time All-Australian, Rui nearly carried St Kilda to premiership glory with his 2009 season, one of the best in recent memory from a key forward. He was as close to unstoppable as it comes, booting 78 goals for the year. While premiership glory eluded the blonde-haired ball of energy, Riewoldt's ability to go from ruthless leader of a successful team to a nurturing teacher of young players coming through the doors at St Kilda was a hallmark of his legacy. He would retire as perhaps the greatest St Kilda player of all time. Number 1, Luke Hodge. It's hard to go past the man taken first in the Super Draft of 2001. Taken ahead of fellow superstars Luke Ball, Chris Judd, Gary Ablett Jr. and Jimmy Bartel, Hodge proved to be one of the greatest Hawks and captains the game has ever seen. A 4-time premiership player, 3 of those as captain consecutively, and a 2-time Norm Smith medalist, Hodge's accolades make for some unbelievable reading. He played 305 games for the Hawks before a move to the Lions, where he added 41 games to his tally. He was awarded All-Australian honours on 3 occasions and was named captain of the team in 2010. Hodge may not have the stats of some of the names that came before him in this list, but his influence on his team and his troops individually was as good as we've seen from a leader in his time. He is without a doubt the best player to be drafted at number 1, and definitely the best return on a club's prized investment.